I'm going to go over the worksheet titled Review Angle Bisectors. These are going to be very similar to what you're going to see on the test, so I want to make sure I explain this to you. So if we look at this particular problem, in these problems here, we're going to identify two different parts of the problem. So if we look at this diagram here, first the directions say that EF bisects angle DEG. So EF is going to be an angle bisector. So although the diagram doesn't look like the angle is bisected, it also says it's not drawn to scale. So because this bisects it, this part of the angle is going to be equal to the other part. So we're going to identify this part as a half angle, and then this as a half angle, and then this will be called the whole angle. Okay, so this is going to be important as I explain these particular problems. So if we look at this one here, angle DEG, so DEG is going to be the whole angle. So we're going to identify this as the whole. Now FEG is F, E to G, that's half. So if you have the whole angle equaling 88, what's half of it? So half of 88 is going to be 44. Okay. For the next one, FED, that's FED is a half angle, and then GED is the whole angle. Notice how on each of these I'm tracing it with my finger. This is very important because one of the mistakes students will make is they assume they know what it is and they do it wrong. So if half of it is 27, if we double it, we'll get the whole thing. Okay? So this half and double relationship is pretty important. Now instead of multiplying by 2, which is one way to do it, we can also do 27 plus 27 to get us 54. And the second way where we add both parts is how I'm going to explain the problems here. It can also be done by multiplying it, but this way is a little bit simpler for most students to understand. So if we go to problem 3, we need to identify DEF as a half or a whole. So if we go DEF, that's half. Okay? And DEG is the whole thing. So how many halves are going to equal the whole? We need 2 of them. So it's going to be half angle plus half angle is equal to the whole thing. So what is the half angle equal to? It's equal to 3x plus 1. So how many of these do we need? We're going to add another 3x plus 1. And when we do that, it's going to equal to the whole angle, which is 5x plus 19. Now in this step, because we have multiple x's on one side of the equal sign, we're going to combine like terms. So 3x plus 3x would give us 6x. Positive 1 and positive 1 would give us a positive 2. Okay, and then from here we can use our equation. So now we want to move the smallest variable. So on the left side we get x plus 2, and on the right side we get 19. And then the last step is we're going to subtract 2. So we're going to end up getting x equals to 17. And if we look at the directions, we would be done with this particular problem. All right, let's take a look at a couple more of these problems. We're going to do the same step of identifying half and whole. So here on problem 4, DEF, so we trace DEF here, okay, is a half angle. FEG is a half angle. So what is true about both half angles? They're going to be equal to each other. So in this case, the half angle would equal to the other half angle. So this half angle is 5x minus 3, and then that half angle is 2x plus 15. Again, why are they equal to each other? Because it's an angle bisector, the one half has to equal to the other. All right, so now in this case, we want to move the smallest variable first. Okay, now we want to move the number away from the variables. Okay, and from here we would get x is equal to 6, and if we read the directions, we would be done with that problem. Let's take a look at one more problem here. Again, identifying it as half and whole first. So FEG is a half angle. FED is a half angle. So just like the previous problem, the half angle will equal to the other half angle. So 6x minus 7 is going to equal to 2x plus 41. So our first step is to move the smallest variable term. And then we're going to move the numbers away from the variables. So in this case, the variable is on the left. We're going to move the number to the right. And we would get a value of x equaling to 12. And if we read the directions, we're actually not done. Because what they want is the measure of DEG. So DEG is actually the whole angle. So this is one example we haven't seen where we actually have to plug this value in now. So we're going to take our choice of how we want to plug this in. So if we want to do the first one, so 6x minus 7, that would be 6 times 12. Again, where's the 12 coming from? It's coming from our x value, minus 7. So that would be 72 minus 7, which is equaling to 65. So this would be FEG, which is 65. Now, because it's a bisected angle, 65 would be 1/2, and so would the other half. So that means the whole angle has to be 130 degrees, which is your final answer. So this one is a little bit trickier in that you don't just find x, you have to plug it in for a half angle and then figure out what the whole angle is equal to.